But what is the intention? What is the intention of these sections? The intention is to oust the hostile group of shareholders or minority shareholders, and to continue or establish a complete control over the target company. एक छात्र राज का जो बात करते हैं, इसी के कारणवश ये इनका इंटेंशन है कि 230/11, 235 और 236 को इन्वोक करें और उसके द्वारा वो पूरे के पूरे मेजोरिटी उसको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। और ये जैसे कहते हैं ना कि कंपनीज एक्ट माइनॉरिटी को प्रोटेक्शन देता है, उसी के साथ मेजोरिटी को भी प्रोटेक्शन मिलता है यहाँ पे कि आप मेजोरिटी कंट्रोल के साथ पूरे कंपनी को टेक ओवर कर सकते हैं। So it's a 50-50 section, you can say, provision under the Companies Act, which also talks about minority protection and also talks about the majority control. And there are provisions. So there are various means to provide an exit opportunity. So there are various means to provide an exit opportunity offers to the shareholders of the target company, like buyback. Buyback is already there in the Companies Act. Reduction of share capital, consolidation of share capital. But these three types of exit opportunity offers are, however, not an eviction type, but section 230, 235.
There was a network problem with the speaker. He is joining just in a moment. speaker has just joined. Yeah, Akashji, go ahead. Akashji. Sports. Yeah, Akashji.
Akashji, please connect your PPT. No, you are not audible. Please make your voice correct.
एसएफएस में इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड सब्सिडी जेवी एसोसिएट किस
Hello.
Yeah, audible.
Now audible?
Yes.
But let me share my PPT.
Sorry. If it is not shared through your mobile, kindly send it to us. We can share the PPT for you.
Wait a minute, I am sharing. Just a minute. Praveen, I have shared the PPT. Praveen, I have shared the PPT in WhatsApp. Hello.
I have received your PPT. Just
Yeah,
give me a moment. I am sharing that.
Yeah, Praveen bhai.
Thank you.
I'm sorry because of my there is a problem in my laptop. I think. Hello.
Well, go ahead, sir.
You are audible, sir.
Yeah. So there, I was talking about the buyback of a reduction of share capital, consolidation of share capital, which also provide an exit offer, but then to in a very friendly manner. But if we look at the provision of Chapter 15, we talk about compromise and arrangement, which also includes Section 230(11), 235, and 236 of the Companies Act. The nature of exit offer is more of an eviction, just like throwing out from the company by paying some some value that to and the sorry, paying of the fair value to the outgoing shareholders. That is the target group. Next, okay, kindly come to the next slide. So today we will be discussing about 23011. We will be discussing about 235 and also the section 236. Section 23011, it is only for an unlisted company. For listed company, there is a SEBI SAST regulations, and discuss the SAST regulation. Detailed discussion is needed for SEBI SAST regulation. So today, my deliberation will be confined to unlisted companies only, because it is a new section and people must know about this section, because I don't think the rules which has been framed under the newly enacted 23011 is really is a poor drafting, I can say, because there are certain anomalies and I'm getting questions from some of the learned company secretaries who have written article and written to the ministry about the rules which are not in consonance with the act. So there is a jurisprudence, there is a law, and there is a doctrine that rules cannot override the act, and I will be discussing that rules and the act which is not in consonance. So finally, first coming to section 23011, it has come into effect from 4th February 2020, and the highlights: it is only applicable to unlisted companies only, and for becoming an eligible acquirer, the minimum shareholding should be 75%. मतलब अगर आप कोई कंपनी को एक्वायर करना चाहते हो तो आपके पास मिनिमम 75% ऑफ द इक्विटी शेयर्स होना चाहिए. There must be a bank account must be opened. Again, there is an anomaly with the bank account. What will be the way of opening a bank account, and what will be whether it will be a escrow account or whether it will be a normal bank account. So there is a lot of questions, lot of query about it. And the foremost thing is that an objection can be raised under section 23012. 23012 talks about the aggrieved party, who can be an aggrieved party in a takeover under section 23011. We will be discussing after this slide. Kindly change the slide, Praveen bhai. Yeah. So along with the new notification dated 4th of February 2020, there is an amendment also in the rules and also in the NCLT rules. We will be discussing along with this slide that what are the rules which has been amended and what are the NCLT amendment rules after the enactment of this section 23011. As I have said that it is only applicable to unlisted companies. For listed companies, it is regulated by SEBI SAST regulation. Now coming to the eligibility criteria. As said that one must have 3/4 of the shares of the equity shares. Equity shares means securities having voting rights. All the securities having voting rights, they are eligible to acquire the shares of the other company, target company. And the application fee at the NCLT is rupees 50,000. Before discussing with the drafting of scheme, before discussing the drafting of scheme for applying under section 23011, I shall remind you of the section 231, 232 and 233 of the Companies Act, which also talks about the mainstream compromise and arrangement between the creditor and between the shareholders. In simple language we say merger and acquisition. तो मर्जर एंड एक्विजिशन कैसे फाइल किया जाता है एनसीएलटी में, इसके बारे में मैं आपको एक बार बता देता हूं, उसके बाद में फिर 23011 में आऊंगा. For 231, 232, 233, first we pass a board resolution. We present the scheme before the shareholder. We go to the NCLT. We draft a scheme. We go to the NCLT for dispensation of the creditors meeting of the member. Sir, I will be coming to that. If 25 refuse to sell, I will be coming to that in the later part. First, let me discuss about section 230. Section 230 में आप पहले जाते हैं, फर्स्ट मोशन फाइल करते हैं आप एनसीएलटी में, फी लगता है 5,000 रुपीज. इन दैट पिटिशन यू सेज दैट देयर इज a scheme of arrangement between two of the companies, and we want a dispensation of meeting of the creditor and member if all the creditors and members have given their written consent that we don't have any objection with this scheme, and the NCLT on the first motion orders that you have to supply the copy of the petition along with the scheme to all the regulatory bodies. Why such? Because the regulatory authorities can file their objection before the NCLT that yes, we have there is a lacuna in the compliance of the acquirer company or the target company, or the regulatory authority may say that everything is okay, there is no problem, and you can move ahead with the scheme. Secondly, if the consent is not given by 100% of the members or the creditors, what will be the consequences? The NCLT will not dispense with the meeting, and NCLT will say that there will be NCLT court convened meeting. NCLT will appoint a chairman of the meeting along with a scrutinizer. Chairman may be a chartered accountant, company secretary, as per the discretion of the honorable NCLT. And thereafter, a meeting will be convened, and in that meeting, we can take a consent, and we can then file a report to the NCLT for second motion. The second motion talks about the approval of the scheme of arrangement. If there are no objection from the regulatory authorities, then the sanction will be given to the scheme, and thereafter a company can be merged easily. This is the most basic part of the section 230 to 232 of the Companies Act. Now coming to 230(11). What will be the contents and procedure for filing application before the NCLT? As I have said that this is a new section which has come just in the month of February itself. Till date, I have not found any petition which has been filed before the NCLT Calcutta bench or Cuttack bench. But I will be trying to give my opinion what will be the new procedure and what can the NCLT decide. So as said that 75% of the total share capital of such company, total shares of the acquired company can apply for acquisition. Now, what is the procedure? First, a scheme of arrangements needs to be drafted, and in the scheme of arrangement, you will be giving the details about the valuation report, and that valuation will be done by a registered valuer. And what will be the parameters for arriving the value? The parameters will be highest price paid for the share of the target company by any person in the preceding 12 month, माने 12 महीना में जो highest price वो शेयर टारगेट कंपनी का शेयर खरीदने के लिए जो दिया गया है उसको मद्देनजर, और दूसरा जो फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर्स जो कि डिटरमाइन किया जाएगा आपका नेटवर्थ से, जो रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यू डिसाइड करेंगे उस पर निर्भरता करते हुए वो डिसाइड करेंगे कि क्या फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर्स आना चाहिए, जिससे कि आप एक्वायरर कंपनी टारगेट कंपनी को परचेस कर सकती है. The application shall also contain the details of the bank account wherein at least 50% of the total consideration is deposited. 50% of the total consideration has to be deposited. As far as the question of the time which the amount is supposed to be deposited is concerned, in my view, there are lot of questions regarding about the details of bank account, but as per my view, I am of the considered opinion that it should be ideally done at the time of filing of the application. Go and deposit 50% of the valuation, and thereafter file an application by giving details of the bank account in your NCLT petition. That is the first motion. Sir, I will be coming to this query later on. Yeah. I will be taking 10 minutes for the queries. Let me finish my slides. Yeah. Okay. I will be coming with that query later on. Yeah. Now coming to the questions that suppose please change the slide, Praveen bhai. Yeah. So as said, whether in the normal proceeding of section 230, 232, compromise or arrangement, merger and acquisition, we have to follow the same procedure in section 230(11). My answer will be no. But one may opine that the compliance under section 231, as mentioned, in the slide, that filing of the application, calling for the meeting of the member, dispensation of meeting of the members and creditors, approval of the scheme by members holding 3/4 in the value, sending out the copy of application to the regulatory authorities, filing an application for approval of the scheme, which is second motion. I don't think there is any need to send notice to the regulatory authorities because they are not concerned with the acquisition. Secondly, there is no need for calling the meetings of the members and creditors. As per my view, there is no need to call the meeting of the members and creditor by the NCLT in a petition under section 230(11) and 232. Because considering the fact that the instant takeover has no role to be played by the creditors and the statutory authorities, there is no role of creditors and the statutory authorities. And as said, the shareholders, the 75% shareholders are acquiring 25% or say 10% of the acquirer company. So there are already members who are applying. So there is no need to call a meeting for the members because they have already decided in their shareholders meeting or extraordinary general meeting, as the case may be. So the requisite majority anyway held by the applicant in the instance case. So the calling of the meeting of the member is baseless and devoid of any logic. Praveen bhai, please change the slide. So if an application is approved, the outgoing shareholders are supposed to take their requisite shares of consideration and transfer their shareholding in the name of the acquirer company. So now one may say that if I don't want to give my 25% to that other company, what are the way out that I can that a minority can be protected under section 230. So there is a section which is a newly enacted section, that is section 230(12), which says that any aggrieved party can move to NCLT and tell NCLT that this is illegal, or this will prejudice my right, or they may file an intervening application before the, suppose a application has been filed for 230(11). Any aggrieved party can file a 230 an intervening application to oppose that application by filing an intervening application before the NCLT. And in case the takeover has already been done and has already been approved, the minority being aggrieved party can file a company application setting out the details which has prejudiced the minority shareholders. So there is a twofold minority protection: one before the approval of the scheme, and second after the takeover has been approved. And now coming to the Limitation Act. So as per my opinion, since the provisions are silent on the time period within which the aggrieved party can file an application or an intervening application or a company application, the Law of Limitation Act should ideally be followed, wherein a time frame of 3 years can be allowed for filing the said application. Sir, meaning of prejudice, I shall be coming, sir, after the slide is over, sir. I will be taking all the question after the slide is over. So JJ Irani committee report has categorically discussed about meaning of an aggrieved party. Suppose a person holding one share want to go to court and object that no, sir, I am prejudiced by their actions. So I want to file an intervening application, or say I want to oppose this scheme which has been approved by the NCLT. The answer is no. A single shareholder cannot go until and unless it is having at least 10% of the shareholding, or having outstanding debt amounting to not less than 5% of the total outstanding debt. So only in 2 cases you can go to the NCLT and you can file your objections. The first is it shall be made only by person holding not less than 10% of the total shareholding or 5% of the total outstanding debt as per the latest audited financial statement. So this is now I'm coming to section 235. 235. This is a slide. Kindly change the slide, brother. Yeah, this is a very interesting section which talk about corporate acquirer with majority approval. Any company, so there is no minimum shareholding. If I am holding 10%, then also I can buy a company of shares of other company through a scheme or through a contract. So any company with an intention of acquiring the shares of another company will make an offer through a scheme or a contract, as I have said. There is no minimum shareholding of the proposed acquirer, but 90% of the shareholder assent is required of those shareholders whose shares are involved, excluding the shares of the offers of excluding the shareholding of the offerer, its subsidiary, its nominee. It is a kind of a friendly takeover. It's not even a hostile takeover. It is a friendly takeover जहाँ की आप जाते हैं और बोलते हैं कि भैया मुझे आपकी कंपनी के शेयर्स खरीदनी है, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के थ्रू मेरे को ये ट्रांसफर कर दो, और वो जो शेयर होल्डर है, समझ लीजिए फॉर एग्जांपल 75% शेयर होल्डिंग है कंपनी ए का, कंपनी बी का शेयर होल्डिंग है 25%। शेयर होल्डिंग कंपनी ए चाहती है कि कंपनी बी की 25% शेयर होल्डिंग मैं खरीद लूं थ्रू ए स्कीम और ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। आप जाते हो, कंपनी बी को बोलती हो कि 25% आप ट्रांसफर कर दो विद इन 4, आप एक ऑफर देते हो जो कि 4 मंथ के अंदर अंदर आपको ट्रांसफर करना है 25% ऑफ योर कंपनी इक्विटी शेयर्स। वो कंपनी के 90% मतलब 25% की 90% को एसेट देना है कि यस वी आर रेडी टू ट्रांसफर आवर शेयर्स सब्जेक्ट टू द कंडीशन एज स्टिपुलेटेड अंडर सेक्शन 235। तो 25% का 90% होता है 22.5%। अगर 22.5% एग्री करते हैं, अगर 22.5% एग्री करते हैं 25% में से, तो ये ट्रांसफर कैन टेक प्लेस, एंड दैट 2.5% if they do not go to the NCLT for an objection, then the scheme can be approved by sending a notice to the dissenting shareholders that we want to purchase your share, and that is 2.5% can easily be acquired by the acquired company of 75%. So in short, within 4 months from the date of offer for acquisition, the shareholders holding 90% of the value of total share of the target company is required to approve the scheme. Once the scheme is approved by the requisite majority, the proposed acquirer shall send notice to that it desired to acquire shares of the dissenting shareholders, as said 22.5% अगर allow करते हैं, in form CA 14 to such shareholders within 2 months from the expiry of the 4 month, माने 4 महीना प्लस 2 महीना और 1 महीना का समय दिया जाएगा वो शेयर होल्डर्स को 2.5 वाले को कि आप एनसीएलटी में जाके ऑब्जेक्शन कर सकते हो। Now a question arises that when there is a pending application by that 2.5% shareholders, can there be any acquisition? The answer is no, because until and unless when the NCLT disposes of the application filed by that 2.5% equity shareholders, there cannot be any acquisition by the 75% company A. So this is a very, I can say there's a very friendly takeover, and this is the most common form of takeover, I can say, because it corresponds to the section 395 of the Erstwhile Companies Act 1956. Praveen bhai, kindly change. प्रवीण, इससे पहले वाला क्या था? Yeah, the next one. Yeah, the PPT will be shared, Vijay Kumar ji. PPT will be shared, don't worry. I will be sharing the PPT. I will be sharing, yeah. Now, after the scheme has been approved, the NCLT has disposed of the application, the acquirer, that is the company A holding 75% share, shall send notice along with the instrument of transfer and pay the amount of consideration to the target company in a separate bank account, and make arrangement that target company will make an arrangement to disburse the same within 60 days. So here is a clause which says that within 60 days you have to disburse the amount to that 25%, 22.5% or 25% as the case may be. Finally, the target company shall send an intimation to the dissenting shareholder, informing them about the share transfer registration and receipt of consideration. So in this way, section 235 operates, and is a very easy way for takeover of a company. Yeah. Now coming to takeover by minority squeeze out. This is one of the most draconian section, I can say, under the Companies Act 236, and also analogous to section 23011, newly enacted section 23011. But here the crux is that the minimum shareholding should be 90%. अगर 90% शेयर होल्डिंग वाले एक कंपनी चाहती है कि दूसरे कंपनी को वो खरीद ले या उसका टेक ओवर ले ले, अगर उसमें 90% शेयर होल्डिंग रखती है तो वो 10% वाले को आराम से खरीद सकती है और उस खरीद क्या सकती है, उसको थ्रो आउट कर सकते हैं. हाउ? सो फर्स्ट प्रवीण भाई काइंडली नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज, और एक बार नेक्स्ट स्लाइड कर दीजिए. या as said, section 236 is a draconian section that shows the power of the super majority shareholders of a company. It has the simple intent of gaining the complete control of a company in which the acquirer already has 90% shareholding. मैं 90% शेयर होल्डिंग का समझ ऑलरेडी हूं और मैं चाहता हूं 10% भी मेरे पास आ जाए, then this is the section which one must invoke under the provision of the Companies Act, that is section 236. Also, many people are taking undue advantages of this section. Until date, no one has challenged this section. So there are many sections, many process which are being prevalent in the for squeezing out the minority shareholding. There are takeovers, arrangements, merger, conversion of securities to equities, and capital raise. And the meaning of squeeze out in context of acquisition and takeover means a situation where the minority shareholders are squeezed or dragged out of their shareholding in the transferor company by the majority shareholders by purchasing their stake in spite of disagreement by the former.
आकाश जी, एक क्वेश्चन था मेरा, या बाद में लूंगा?
बाद में लीजिए ना सर प्लीज.
ठीक, ओके,
कंप्लीट कर देते, नहीं तो फिर समय नहीं बचेगा सर.
ठीक.
हाँ, in spite of disagreement by the former. अगर आप नहीं भी चाहते हैं, आप 10% और आप नहीं भी चाहते हैं कि 90% वाले आपका शेयर ले, फिर भी आपको देना पड़ेगा सर, फिर भी आपको देना पड़ेगा सर. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. What is minority shareholding? Minority shareholding has not been specifically defined under the Companies Act. However, section 236 of the Act uses the word minority shareholding in respect of registered holders of the issued equity shares of the company not exceeding 10%. मतलब 10% या 10% से कम वाले shareholders को हम लोग minority बोलते हैं. As per section 236, also as per section 241, 242 and 244 of the Companies Act, which talks about prevention of operation as mismanagement. Mismanagement का की केस में अगर आपको applicability का बात किया जाए तो 1/10 of the total share capital वाले ही सिर्फ जा सकते हैं और operation mismanagement का एक केस फाइल कर सकते हैं. This section has the features as follows: fair value fixed by the following the valuation provision under the Companies Act 2013. In this section, minority shareholders can suo motu offer the acquisition to the acquirer company that you may come and take our shares. So in this section, minority can also go to the majority and tell that you can take our shares and we are ready to give our shares. Akhilesh ji, I will be taking this question. It is confiscatory. It is also contradictory, sir. Also contradictory. So issue of duplicate shares in lieu of undelivered share certificate, price negotiation by the majority of the minority. So there can be a price negotiation. आप दरमुलाई भी कर सकते हैं minority से कि भाई register valuer के हिसाब से शेयर का प्राइस इतना आ रहा, आप इतना में ले लो. वो भी negotiation कर सकते हैं कि इतना आ रहा, आप इतना में ले लो. Yes, sir. I will be taking everything at the end. Now, what are the circumstances under which section 236 can be invoked? So there was a case filed before the NCLAT. I have taken out some relevant para of that judgment, which was passed by Honorable NCLAT under section 236(11). So there you can see in the slide. Pursuant to its judgment dated 9th July, the NCLAT has held that section 236(1) deals with two events. The first event is acquirer or a person acting in concert with such acquirer becoming registered holder of 90% or more of the equity share capital of the company. तो पहला सिचुएशन ये है कि acquirer और उनके साथ person acting in concert, जो कि आपके next slide में उसका definition है, with such acquirer becoming registered holder of the 90% or more of the equity share can apply under this act, under this section. The second event is that any person or group of person becoming 90% majority or holding 90% of the issued equity share capital of the company by virtue of amalgamation, share exchange, conversion, or any other reason. This second is for listed company, obviously. Then such acquirer, which refers to the first event, the first para, first event, or the person or group of person, which refers to the second event, as the case may be, shall notify the company of its intention to the buy remaining equity share. So you are in company A, you are already holding 90% share, either through individual or through person acting in concern, or any person or group of person. They can say that, sir, हम तो 90% already hold करते हैं आपका कंपनी में, ये 10% आप मुझे दे दो. तो आप उनको अपना इंटेंशन बताओगे कि मैं आपसे बाय आउट करना चाहता हूं सर, अंडर सेक्शन 236 सबसेक्शन 1. तभी जा इसका ये फर्स्ट मेथड है. नाउ सर पीछे कीजिए एक बार. The word acquirer and person acting in concern are dealt under the SEBI SAST regulation. This is for the listed companies, and you can go and look at in the definition of the acquirer and the person acting in concern. There is a paucity of time, and I have to move forward. Now, the NCLAT has further held that the word for any other reason have to be read as jusdam generis with preceding word and must take the same color. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते हैं कि आप अचानक से सारे शेयर होल्डर्स एक कनाइव कर गए और 90% कर लिया, और 90% करके आप चाहते हैं कि चलो अब ये 10% को खरीद लिया जाए. आप ऐसा नहीं कर सकते 236 में. क्यों? Because subsection 1 of section 236 for its applicability would require occurring of the event. What is that occurring of the event? Occurring of the event of any person or group of persons becoming 90% of majority or holding 90% of the issued share capital of a company. That event too must be by virtue of an amalgamation, share exchange, conversion of security for any other reason of like nature. आप ऐसे नहीं कि आप कन्नाइव करके कि चलो भाई हम लोग 4 ग्रुप है, 4 ग्रुप कन्नाइव कर जाते हैं और 5वां ग्रुप को हम लोग क्योंकि वो 10% है उसको हम लोग खरीद लेते हैं. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा सर. You have to give a detailed reason. The said ruling has made it clear that section 236 cannot be invoked by the majority only by way of creeping acquisition as said. The action under the said section should be based on a corporate action only and not to be based merely on a shareholders action. आप जल्दी जाके shareholders मिल गए 90% है आप और जाके तुरंत आप चाहते हैं कि आपको ये 10% मिल जाए तो सर ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. आपको डिटेल रीजन बताना पड़ेगा और आपको एक्वायरर और पर्सन एक्टिंग इन कंसर्न का डेफिनेशन के साथ जाना पड़ेगा. In this, as said, the minority shareholder can suo motu provide offer to the majority. Minority जाके suo motu अपने on its own motion जाके majority shareholders को बोल सकते हैं कि you can purchase our equity shareholding and you can move ahead. Yeah, next slide. Now, I am providing the basis of difference between all these 3 sections. The first is eligibility. In section 2, kindly look at this slide very carefully because this is the conclusive part of my presentation. What are the eligibility criteria? First, under section 230 subsection 11, any member who holds 75% or more shares along with other members. In case of section 235, there is no minimum shareholding eligibility criteria, no minimum shareholding. In section 236, which talk about minority squeeze out, any person who holds 90% or more shares individually or with person acting in concert. So there are 3 criteria. First, 75%, second, no minimum shareholding, and third is 90% shareholding. Now, coming to the second basis of difference, which talk about the eligible target company. The target company must be an unlisted company in case of section 230(11). In case of 235, any company, both listed and unlisted. In case of 236, obviously both listed and unlisted. Now, for approval, the threshold limit for section 230(11) is 75% in value. In case of 235, the approval by members holding 90% in value. And in case of 236, no approval required since the offer of acquisition is made by 90% shareholding. You can just see the differences. How section 230, 235 and 236 is similar but having a lot of differences with regard to the eligibility, with regard to the threshold for approval. That's why I have said that 235 is a friendly takeover and 236 is a hostile takeover. Now, meaning of shares. As per section 230(11), the meaning of shares is equity shares, securities that are having voting rights. In case of 235, the meaning of share is only equity shares. In case of 236, the meaning is only the meaning of share is only the equity shares of the company. Now, coming to the involvement of scheme, whether drafting of a scheme is required under 230(11), yes, a scheme must be drafted and it must be presented before the NCLT by paying an application fee of rupees 5,000. In case of 235, drafting of contract is involved and drafting of scheme is involved. In case of 236, no scheme is involved. Sir, next slide. The most pertinent one, proceeding is at the NCLT. When I say that the drafting of a scheme is required, so it becomes imperative that under section 230(11), we have to go to the NCLT for approval of the scheme. And in case the minority shareholders who are being aggrieved, they can also file their intervening application under section 230(12). In case of 235, no involvement in the first stage. When we are making an offer, there is no involvement. If the dissenting shareholders file an intervening application or objection to this shareholding, then there is an involvement of the NCLT. 236, no NCLT not involved. In case there is also in section 236, suppose there may be an objection by 1/10 of the equity shareholders, they can file a section 241 application. 241 which talks about operation and mismanagement. 241, 242. So directly saying that NCLT is not involved, no, because you cannot be left remediless. There is a remedy under section 241, 242 for the minority under section 232 if they are aggrieved under section 236. Now, can a suo motu offer will be given by the minority? In case of 230(11), there is no such provision. In case of in the case of section 235, there is no such provision. But in case of 236, minority can suo motu offer for buying out their share to the majority. Now, coming to the basis of difference with regard to exclusion of related party. Related parties are not excluded for the purpose of considering the votes. Means related party can also vote. Secondly, section 235. The acquirer company or its nominee subsidiary are excluded for determining voting results. In case of 236, related parties are not excluded for the purpose of considering the shareholding. So as said, 230(11) and 236 are analogous. Scope of filing application by dissenting minority shareholders at the NCLT, yes, available under section 230(12). In case of 235, it is available. In case of 236, there are no explicit provision, but as said, they can file a application under section 241, 242 of the Companies Act. Praveen bhai, next slide. So point number 10, basis of difference, that is payment of purchase consideration. 50% of the purchase considered to be deposited in a separate bank account before filing application. Before filing an application, kindly mark these words, before filing an application. There are a lot of queries whether this will be a escrow account or a normal corporate account. There is no clearance. Let's see what NCLT will take, how NCLT will react to these provisions. In case of section 235, by way of a contract, only to be paid when time for filing of application by dissenting shareholders has expired. That is after the period of 7 months. 4 months offer, 2 months time given to the acquirer target company to give their shares, and 1 month time is given to the minority to approach the NCLT. So after expiry of 7 months, payment of purchase consideration can be made. Now coming to section 236, only payment of purchase consideration in case of section 236, only when the offer for acquisition is made and the time for delivery of share certificates by the minority has expired. Time period for keeping the purchase consideration. In case of section 230(11), instant disbursement on the approval. As soon as NCLT has approved the scheme, you have to disburse the amount. In case of 235, no time period for keeping purchase consideration in separate account, but it has to be disbursed within 60 days of the within 60 days after the expiry of 7 months. In case of 236, PC to be kept in a separate account for 1 year. Disbursement has to be made within 60 days after the approval. Now, scope for price negotiation. Can there be a negotiation? दरमुलाई किया जा सकता है. In case of 230(11), no scope for negotiation by the minority. Minority cannot negotiate. 235 is silent about scope for negotiation because there is a offer. And in case of 236, price negotiation can be done by the majority or by the minority. So that is the completion of my slides. I can take the questions now. Questions can be taken. Chat.
So there are various
Nature of-
questions being asked. One from Shivam.
Shivam, to me, respected sir, my company has filed a scheme with NCLT Chennai bench, which was also duly approved by the bench, and order has been. But before we get by bench, an order has been reserved. But before we get it, this lockdown happened. One of the party to this scheme is a company situated in China. My question is, by press note 3, the FEMA rules has been changed, and then so the investment in India by companies sharing the border with India will only be allowed through approval route. This is applicable to those schemes also which were before this change? Is it possible to get the copy of order during this period? Yes. So in this case, because your order has been reserved of first motion, I think under the second motion, there will be an objection by the statutory authorities, or ROC or RD may file an objection to your scheme that there are certain provision which has been contravened under FEMA rules. So the regulatory authorities may file an objection to your scheme. Now, coming to your second question, is it possible to get the copy or order during this period? It is impossible because the NCLT is closed due to lockdown. There may be a notification coming for opening of the NCLT, as the ministry has already intimated for NCLT Cuttack bench, that NCLT Cuttack bench will operate 3 days. 3 days. The NCLT Cuttack bench will operate for 3 days in 14 days. Means it will sit around 6 days in a month. So at that time, if NCLT Chennai bench gives that type of official order, then you may apply for a certified copy of that order. But I think the order has been reserved and it has not been pronounced yet.
So there is one question from Rohit Taja. One private limited company filed. Hello. Yeah, company filed his all form for financial year 18-19 with ROC and Income Tax Department. After filing, director of company released that during financial year 18-19, one of the director who holds 75% share transfer 51% share to the foreign company. Hence, company is Indian subsidiary of a foreign company. This fact completely ignored with filing of respective form to the ROC and Income Tax Department. What is the possible way to the director and auditor of the company to corrective action?
Can kindly repeat the question? It's a long question.
Sir, should I unmute that party?
Yeah, sure.
Where is Rohit Taja? Yeah, Rohit, you are unmuted. You can ask your question.
Sir, one private limited company.
Yeah.
Who filed his all the document with ROC and Income Tax Department for financial year 18-19.
Yeah.
फाइल करने के बाद क्या है, वन ऑफ द डायरेक्टर वो होल्ड 75% शेयर.
डायरेक्टर?
हाँ, एक डायरेक्टर के पास 75% शेयर थे.
या
तो उसने क्या है 51% शेयर एक फॉरेन कंपनी को बेच दिए थे. लेकिन जब रिटर्न ओवर सब फाइल हो रहा था ना, तब उसको आइडेंटिफाई नहीं हो रहा था. फिर जैसे जैसे ये सब आरओसी का और इनकम टैक्स का प्रोसीजर क्लियर हो गया ना, उसके बाद ये रियलाइज हुआ कि उसने ड्यूरिंग द ईयर ही 51% शेयर फॉरेन कंपनी को बेच दिए थे।
During the year
तो ये
means during the financial year 18-19.
18-19 ये जो भी 51% शेयर बेचे थे ना, वो टोटल इफेक्ट बुक्स पे थी ही नहीं। तो अभी करेक्शन एक्शन क्या ले सकते हैं इसमें?
करेक्शन आपने स्कीम ऑलरेडी फाइल कर दिया है क्या एनसीएलटी पे?
सब फाइल हो गया नहीं, एनसीएलटी पे नहीं, ओरिजिनल रिटर्न फाइल हुआ था। तो उस टाइम पे क्या ये जो फैक्ट है ना, वो टोटली इग्नोर हो गया था।
And you want to say that कि आपने बैलेंस शीट पे गलती किया है?
हाँ, तो अभी नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या रहेगा इसमें?
आप अगर आप बैलेंस शीट पे गलती किया तो आप फिर से तो फाइल बैलेंस शीट कर एओसी 4 फिर से आप फाइल नहीं कर सकते हो करेक्टेड एओसी 4। आपको खुद ब खुद आपको एक आरओसी को बोलना पड़ेगा कि सर देयर इज एन इनएडवर्टेंट मिस्टेक with regard to the shareholding pattern of the director, and that inadvertent mistake can be curable if the ROC allows. But in many of the cases, ROC is not allowing such correction because it is a blunder. So in that case, you may file an application before the NCLT and say that there is an before you may compound your offenses. आप suo moto जाके अपना offenses को compound कर सकते हैं because it is a big blunder by your chartered accountants, by the auditor of the company. So you may file for compounding of offenses.
Okay, thank you.
So one question from Komal Sharma. She was asking about the name of the judgment you referred.
Judgment name, I will be giving the citation to Komal.
Okay.
Right now,
Sir,
I don't have the citation, but I will be giving. I have that citation, but I will be giving later on.
241-42 diluted. Akhilesh ji, Advocate Akhilesh ji has asked one question about confiscatory.
Yeah.
41 diluted. Take everything together.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a confiscatory because I can say that it is a contradictory because one hand Companies Act says that there is a protection of minority, and if in any of the minority has been prejudiced, then they may file an application under section 241, 242. But simultaneously, Companies Act says that section 230(11), 235 and 236 also says that the majority can easily take control over the minority. So there is a section 241, 242 becomes confiscatory, and alternatively it is contradictory to section 230, 235 and 236. That is what I think Mr. Srivastava is talking about.
Sir, there is one question from my end.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, from 75% to 90% of shareholding, one has to go for a public offering, no?
Sir,
And
that is in case of listed companies, sir.
okay, so you are telling about that this section will be applicable.
I was talking about
public.
Unlisted companies, sir. Unlisted companies. I was talking about unlisted companies. At the starting of the PPT, I have already written that it is applicable to only to the unlisted companies, Praveerji.
Okay.
Any other?
No other question from in the chat box, sir. Thanks a lot.
Hello.
Ji. Thanks a lot for your lovely deliberation. And this topic was very new.
Thank you. Excellent deliberation.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And sorry for the technical lapses because my laptop is facing some technical issues. I'm really sorry for that.
Thanks a lot for this lovely presentation, sir. Thanks a lot.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello.